What's going down? Welcome back to the Fuck This Shit podcast. I'm your host, Dre, back again with a special episode. I guess special is really not the right word. More so, I guess, necessary type shit. First of all, we always started off the same way. Thank you for taking the time out to listen to this motherfucker. I appreciate y'all for all of the likes, shares, social media engagement, all of that. All the links to all the social medias in the show notes. If you're not subscribed to YouTube, make sure you subscribe to YouTube. If you're not subscribed for the $4.99, do that. We need that. Inflation is hitting around this motherfuckers. We need that $5. And if you ain't left the 5-star review, man, make sure you do that. We need those too. I feel like it's obvious why we're here today. This is kind of one of those situations where it don't necessarily take a rocket scientist to figure out what this episode is getting dropped for. I actually wanted to give it to you earlier today, but Xfinity is some fuck-ass, bitch-ass pussies, and I didn't have no motherfucking internet all day today, which meant that the baby was not occupied with nothing but me today. She been crawling all over me. It's been a day for both of us. But, so I just now got a chance to do this. But as we all know by this point, shit, everybody knows the Supreme Court officially overturned Roe versus Wade today. And we all knew this shit was coming. I feel like it wasn't, whenever that leak happened a few weeks ago or a month or so ago, however long ago, there was no silver lining to that leak. There was nothing that said, this is what they're saying, but here's what we can do to impact whatever. It seemed to me like the damage is done. Like, that's what they was trying to say. Like, the damage is done. They got the numbers. They've made the decision. And they about to make this shit move. So, that's what we got now. We got a country where abortion is not protected on a federal level, which means depending on what state you live in, completely depends on what your protections will be as far as access to abortion. It's, first of all, one of the things that I always like to make, one of the points I like to make about this off the top, is this is so easy to do because the people who make these decisions won't be impacted by them. The people who advocate for these things won't be impacted by them. Because at the end of the day, if you have access to a certain level of resources, you just be able to go somewhere where it's legal. You know what I'm saying? If you're not poor, you'll be fine. You still be able to get an abortion. It'll just be inconvenient. Now, will there still be we can, usually I try not to ramble too much, but in this instance, I think I'm just going to kind of let myself hit all the points that come to mind as they come to mind. I don't think people are really taking into consideration the point of desperation people are going to be in when women are going to be in. I'm sorry, I don't want to generalize. The point of desperation women are going to be in when they're in a position where, let's say, you do have a certain level of resources and you find out you're pregnant and for whatever reason you don't want this pregnancy. And you make arrangements. You live in Texas and you're like, okay, I'm going to have to drive to Colorado. Might be the next closest state. I don't know. I don't even know where the next closest state to somewhere like Texas is going to be because we got, New Mexico, Oklahoma, already no-go, Louisiana. I'm sure they'll be quick to get that shit up out of there. Arkansas, they're going to get that shit up out of there. It's going to be, shit, your best bet might be damn near Mexico if you live in Texas. But the point is, so let's say that you are a woman who has a certain level of resources. For whatever reason, you make plans and you find a way, right? You're like, this is how I'm going to get my abortion, right? And for whatever reason, life happens to you. Hell, let's not even be too vague about it. Say you get COVID. Because COVID is still out there. You got to remember, this is the world we live in, and all of these things are still factors. And whether you think COVID is a big deal or not, COVID bars you from being able to do things. You can't do shit when you get COVID. So let's say you find out you're pregnant. You make arrangements to get this abortion. On the day that you're supposed to go get it, you find out you get COVID. The week before you find out you get COVID, you're not going to be able to make your appointment. You have to reschedule your appointment. And now the closest day you be able to make an appointment puts you beyond the point where you can actually terminate this pregnancy legally in that state. I just want you to think on a human level, the level of desperation you would feel in that moment. And taking into consideration all the people you know, and taking into consideration yourself and all the times that you may have been in a vulnerable place. You know what I'm saying? Where you couldn't take one more L. And just like imagine that being like a real reality that somebody could have to go through, and just think about how difficult it would be to go on to the next step, regardless to what that is. We've all been paralyzed with despair, if that makes sense. You ever been trying to do something so much? People who've been to prison or who have like jail records, they'll kind of feel this. I'm sure there's other instances where you can feel this, but this is just one that comes to mind quickly. Where it's like you trying to get a job, and you legit trying to do shit the right way. And even though how you ended up in this place may not be perfect, where your heart is now is, I'm just trying to do right. You know what I'm saying? And you just can't. No matter how many times you don't get a job or how many times you fail, the only appropriate response, the only effective response is to find the next path. But we've all been in positions where you just don't even have it to be able to do that. You can't even look to what could I do next? How could I process this better? How could I do this better? You just get in this mode where it's like nothing is set up to help me succeed. Nothing is set up to protect me. Nothing is set up to enable me to be able to lead my life as I see fit. And that's the position I feel like you'll find women in, where they trying to do everything the right way, even though maybe they may not be in this position because I feel like no one is in a position where they want an abortion or where they're seeking an abortion because they did everything the way that they seen it leading up to this. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want an abortion, more than likely you didn't want to get pregnant. You know what I'm saying? Like, aside from, you know what I'm saying, if you find out something about the baby, you know what I'm saying, later on down the line, which is a whole different conversation. But I'm just saying, by and large, and not to cast blame, just to say that that's what it is. Like, if you look into to abort a pregnancy, you probably weren't trying to have a baby, right? And my point is that just because whatever happened, if you want to call it, if it was a mistake, if something happened to you, if it was just irresponsible, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, all of these are instances. All of these things happen, right? It could be any of those things. But regardless to what it was, to think that now that is the sole thing that controls your fate. You know what I'm saying? If it was, you got raped. Now, the fact that you got raped has all this power over your current day. And you're trying to find a way to just be done dealing with this. But you have to keep living through it. There's no option here. There's no, even if there is still an option, it begins to feel like there's no options. Even right now, in a preemptive sense, if you a woman, just knowing that, damn, I can't fuck up. And I don't want to call it a fuck up. I hope that I can speak freely without anyone thinking that I'm like not being sensitive to all of the different instances, you know what I'm saying, that this could occur. But I don't think it has to be, I'll say this, and then I'm not going to qualify my statements anymore. I don't think it should have to be the most extreme case of a woman not wanting to go through with a pregnancy that should allow her to have an abortion. If a woman just fuck up, if you a woman and you out here irresponsible, having unprotected sex, knowing that you not on birth control, and you get pregnant by a nigga who you don't want a baby with, that was just a bad move. You was just being irresponsible. There's no societal thing that did that to you. Like, you was just being irresponsible. You shouldn't have to have that baby though. Like, that shouldn't be reason enough for you to have that baby, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, you shouldn't have had to got raped by your uncle in front of your kids for you to be able to terminate a pregnancy that you don't fucking want, because it's your body. You got to go through that. And note that I keep saying terminate a pregnancy, not kill a baby. It's not the fucking same. Like, it's not a baby yet. It's not a baby yet. It's just not. And if you knew a woman who had 4 miscarriages, and she always was talking about how she has 4 babies, like she has 4 babies, and you knew that she had her miscarriages in her first trimester, she had early miscarriages, she's like, well, you know, I really have 4 babies. I really have 4 babies. You would let her say that because it's like, if it helps her, you feel what I'm saying? Like, if it helps her cope with what she had to deal with, because she does have 4 traumas for sure, right? I think there's a big percentage of the population would be like, you don't have 4 babies. Like, niggas who have, they'd be like, you didn't have any babies. Like, and that in and of itself is a different trauma that you deserve all the space and all of the respect to live through and speak, you know what I'm saying, your feelings on and process however you need to. But I mean, I think a lot of us would say that those weren't babies. Those were opportunities. And that's its own different sadness. It's its own different trauma, right? You know what I'm saying? But to say like, oh, I had 4 kids, right? But okay. And even to further my point on this, if you knew somebody who had lost 1 baby deep into a pregnancy, 7, 8 months into a pregnancy, you know what I'm saying? And they told you they had lost a child, you would never question them on that. You would never be like, oh, well, technically the baby wasn't born. Because you'd be like, nah, at 7, 8 months pregnant, that's a fucking baby. You know what I'm saying? At 7, 8 months pregnant, if you lose that child, they're going to let you hold that baby. You still going to name that baby. You probably have to fill out a death certificate. I'm not sure about that. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's a whole different vibe. So to say that there's not a clear difference between that first time, like before a baby has it, but before a heartbeat, before a viable fetus exists, that's just not killing a baby to me. That's terminating a pregnancy. It's different. It's just a different thing to me. And I hope I never come off in a way that it seems like I'm being like disregarding how people feel or whatever. It's just a difference of opinion. I still feel like people should feel. I still feel like there should be space for people to feel however they feel about whatever's happened to them in the past. You know what I'm saying? But it's just different. I use that example because it was kind of an extreme example, and I want, one way or another, I kind of want to see what people think about it, even if you disagree. Even if you disagree, you like, no, you know, that's different, whatever. Like, I want to know how those things line up to you in a linear way, as far as like, okay, like, how do you feel about a miscarriage in the first trimester versus like abortion? Do you feel like that's a baby? Like, is it a baby to you? Is it a baby or is it a pregnancy? And see, that's to me, that's the thing. At that point, it's just a pregnancy to me. It's not a baby. So maybe that explains my position on this to begin with. That up until a certain point, it's not even a 50-50 thing. Like, up until you talking about a viable fetus, it's not even, oh, well, is it the baby's life or the mother's life? Like, it's just, is it a pregnancy that this woman has to go through at this point? It's not a baby's life yet. You don't know what can happen from A to B anyway, as far as like, if the baby even would have made it. But that doesn't even matter. It's just like, early pregnancy to me is like, it's like you spay and neuter dogs because you don't want dogs to have puppies that just like run around, right? You don't want a bunch of stray dogs, whatever. So you spay and neuter dogs ahead of time. Be like, we don't ever want them to have the possibility to have a baby. It's like on a I don't really even know how to process this out because I think it's so common sense. It's just that a fetus, like an early fetus, is like just like it's just sperm and eggs put together. Like it's not a baby yet. Like it's just I feel like I'm trying to articulate something that can't be articulated because it's so fucking common sense. It doesn't even make sense how people will attempt to equate these two things as though they're the same because they're just not. And whatever. I guess that part don't even matter because that shit is over. That shit is over. And as you know, as a father who has, I only have daughters. I don't have any sons. I got two brothers, three brothers. I got three brothers. I got one sister, two sisters. I be having to count my siblings because they, my mom and my daddy. So I got three brothers and two sisters, two daughters, a mama. You know what I'm saying? I got most of my friends are women. Like, I got baby mamas. I got, it's a lot of women around me. And I guess I'm a pussy for this, but I actually give a fuck about the world that they got to grow up in and live in. And I think there's a certain empathy that blackness gives you towards anyone feeling unsafe and unprotected. So even as a black man who we are the white man of black people, you know what I'm saying? A black girl told me that shit one day and I was like, man, you really kind of right. As far as black, like, and she even said like black men don't even want equality for all black people. They just want to be able to be equal with white men. And I'm like, I don't think that's true about me personally, but I don't think that that's a crazy thing to say about how misogyny works, right? But still, in America, particularly being black, you have such a vulnerability to other people's interpretation of your value. You have such a vulnerability to what other people decide your outcome should be, that when you see people lose agency of themselves, I feel like we empathize with it in a different way because we understand in a different way. Even though I don't know what it's like to actually lose autonomy over a piece of my body in that way, I do know what it's like to feel as though some wrong is being done to you and there's no real recourse to it. Like, why? Almost as if like, why does nobody even give a fuck that this is happening to me, that they would even allow this to occur? And as black women in particular, I would understand feeling a little abandoned, a little betrayed, a little left, I don't know, a little fucked over by black men, because in this particular instance, when we talking about the right to a legal abortion in America, there's not another thing that made this happen except the fact that we don't take voting as seriously, and I don't even think that's a good way to put it. We don't utilize voting in the way that conservatives do. I don't think conservatives have this magical belief that voting solves all ills. But I think they know that the only way to get their things done are to keep as many of their guys in as possible. So no matter what, under any circumstances, regardless to what they find out about these people or what they've been accused of, what they haven't done in the past, anything that they've done that has specifically harmed them or their community, anything that they've done that's harmed their families, they don't care about any of that stuff. All they care about is, can you advance what I want at any point in time? It does not have to be short term. That's what we're up against. That's what got us to this point. And what we have in contrast to it, if you go on Twitter right now, it's motherfuckers who are like, Joe Biden let this happen, and that's why we wasted our time voting for the nigga. I guarantee you it wouldn't take you 1 minute to find a tweet that blamed Joe Biden and the Democrats for this. And it's just annoying, y'all. I can't lie. I'm really over it at this point. I'm fucking over it. I'm over the, see, this is why we can't fuck with the Democrats, because they just let shit like this happen while the Republicans do ... What is the alternative? And I'm not even, I'm going to give you deeper reasons than what do you have to lose. I'm not going to leave us on a what do you have to lose on this one. But that's the start. What is the alternative? You saying, okay, we're not going to fuck with these Democrats. We're not going to put no more of them in office. We're not going to participate at all. Or we're going to vote for Republicans. Or we're going to vote for third party. So you're going to either not vote. You're going to not vote Democrat. You like, we're not doing that because they not helping, right? So you either going to vote Republican, vote third party, or not vote. How many Democrats voted to confirm the justices that are currently there? Go back and look and ask yourself that. How many Democrats support the policies that just got passed through the Supreme Court? How many Democrats wanted to confirm Supreme Court justices under Barack Obama? Right? So you can't really come to me with this bullshit ass, dumbass fucking argument that it's because we have Democrats in office now that Democrats fail to do things because they don't have the numbers on doing them. There's literally two niggas on the Democratic Party when it comes to senators, Manchin and Sinema, who don't just vote for everything that Biden wants done. But if it takes more than 50, if it takes more than 51 because they've got Kamala, it doesn't go through because all of the Republicans vote together no matter what every time. So I just don't understand where the logic then comes in. Let's not fuck with the Democrats instead of we need to replace more of these Republicans with Democrats, especially in places where we clearly have the numbers. It astonishes me in that in a state like Texas, where the vast majority of people who are eligible to vote do not support the conservative agenda. I'm going to talk about this more in a full episode, but these niggas in Texas are literally promoting this new campaign idea that they're going to try and secede from the fucking United States. They literally can't even do it. They know they can't do it. There's no way that Texas can secede from the United States. It's not even a thing that could happen in the modern world. Fuck something that like they would do. It literally can't even happen. But they're about to make a campaign platform off of this shit because they know that they voters just vote blindly on dumb shit. They don't even look up facts. They don't even know what the fuck. I'm beyond even pretending like they know what they like. They either think about it like this. If you would vote for a nigga if you would vote for Donald Trump at this point, right? After all of these years of stealing, all the election was stolen and all that, whatever. The election was so clearly not stolen that if you would vote for Donald Trump at this point, you are either stupid or you are damn near evil. Like you would just allow the whole democracy around the nation that you live in to crumble behind you getting abortion outlawed or like keeping your Second Amendment rights. More like it, I just don't even get it. It doesn't even make any sense. It's all built on the fact that most people are too stupid. And I hate the fact that that's the truth. And when I say on both sides, I don't mean like, oh, Republicans and Democrats. I mean the stupid white people who vote for Trump and the stupid minorities, niggas, Hispanics, all of that, who make the false equivalencies that because we do not get everything that we want accomplished, we would be better off if we just let them have it. It just doesn't make any sense. And the Supreme Court, one thing you got to remember about the Supreme Court always, you're talking about lifetime appointments here. So these are the motherfuckers we got to deal with until motherfuckers start dying. And you don't know when the motherfucker will die. So it really impresses upon us the absolute requirement that we can continue to engage in the political and voting process throughout the foreseeable future. Like, we can't let up off the gas and let them just happen to be in a position to where if a motherfucker steps down, they can re-up with somebody more conservative, because that's another thing, is that they're so strategic that they will. If they get enough, if they get more power, if they get another president and they get the Senate again, watch niggas start stepping down. Everybody in the Supreme Court who kind of old gonna be like, oh, I can sit down for a 35-year-old, 40-year-old. One thing y'all don't realize is that Amy Coney Barrett and Brett Kavanaugh are not old. They are young. I think they're like 50 at the oldest. I think Kavanaugh's like 43 or some shit like that. Hold on, let's just look it up real quick. Let's see. Brett Kavanaugh is... See, now it's telling me all of these, like... Look, when you search Brett Kavanaugh, his age doesn't come up. All of his scandals do. Brett Kavanaugh is 57. Amy Coney Barrett is 50. Like, these niggas got 30 years of terrorizing the American public. And these niggas win again. Clarence Thomas to sit his ass down. He be like, I'm good. They replace that nigga with somebody 40. So it's just imperative that we can't take this as, see, this is why we don't try. That's all I'm saying, is that that cannot be what comes of this. This is why we don't try, especially because it's just not going to end at this. It's not going to end at this. And you will be shocked at how far it could possibly go back. I've seen articles of people saying that they think that cite things like interracial marriage was not protected by the Supreme Court for that long ago. And maybe, so what it is, what makes people feel like, oh no, this can never happen, is when people hear stuff like that, what they think is, we're never going to go to an America where a black man can't marry white women. I don't think we would ever go to an America where a black man couldn't marry a white woman, or a white man couldn't marry a black woman, or whatever. Any interracial marriage couldn't occur. But we could go back to a Mississippi where that's the case, because that's the way that the Supreme Court works. The Supreme Court doesn't make laws. They're not outlawing anything. They're not saying, oh, this is now against the law. They say this is protected by the Constitution, or it is not. So for them to say that it's not the job of the Supreme Court to make sure that a black man and a white man can get married, or a interracial couple can get married, that's plausible. Why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't that be plausible? And then after that's the case, for individual states to then enact those laws. Yeah, you couldn't pull that shit in California. Yeah, you probably couldn't even make that shit fly in Texas. But in Mississippi, you might could get that through in Alabama. You might could get that through in some of these states where it's a little bit, some things are a little bit deeper ingrained, and they still are a little bit more attached to some of these ideologies, right? The Associated Press put out an article talking about with Roe over, some fear rollback of LGBTQ and other rights. The Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court's decision allowing states to ban abortion stirred alarm Friday among LGBTQ advocates who feared that the ruling could someday allow a rollback of legal protections for gay relationships, including the right for same-sex couples to marry. In the court's majority opinion overturning the 1973 Roe v. Wade opinion, Justice Samuel Alito said the decision applied only to abortion, but critics of the court's conservative majority gave the statement no credence. That's because they said that basically when they had the confirmation hearings, they asked Barrett and Kavanaugh, would you overturn Roe? And they just dodged the question like, oh no, we wouldn't really do that. Got in it. Ain't been a year and they did that shit. I don't buy that at all, said Lawrence Gostin, a professor of medicine at Georgetown University and faculty director of his Institute of National and Global Health Law. It really is much more extreme than the justices are making it out to be. He added, it means that you can't look to the Supreme Court as an impartial arbiter of constitutional rights because they're acting more as culture warriors. Major facts. A point that I may not have made if I wouldn't have read this article out. That is the most problematic thing about all of this. They're not even doing what they think is right. They're not even doing what they think is right based on the impartiality that they're supposed to conduct themselves with. They are literally doing what they feel like the conservatives want them to do, what the conservatives feel like should be done. That's the vibe that they're on. So it's kind of if the court of public opinion sways a certain way, why wouldn't I believe that they would just roll with it? If Fox News decides that it's the new enemy, why wouldn't I believe that this Supreme Court would just ride with that? This is the first year like this they didn't even spit on it, y'all. They went straight in, no Vaseline. We just got in the Supreme Court. Abortion is gone. What do you think the next decade is going to look like? Gostin and others pointed to a separate concurring opinion in which Justice Clarence Thomas said the court should review other precedents, including the 2015 decision legalizing same-sex marriage, a 2003 decision striking down laws criminalizing gay sex, and a 1965 decision declaring that married couples have the right to use contraception. Contraception? So they're going to take condoms away? Like birth control? It won't be condoms. It'll just be birth control. You won't be able to get birth control no more if you're a woman because, I mean, fuck them, right? Today is about this horrifying invasion of privacy that this court is now allowing, and when we lose one right that we have relied on and enjoyed, others are at risk, said Jim Obergefell, the plaintiff in the landmark ruling legalizing same-sex marriage, who is now running as a Democrat for the Ohio House. Abortion opponents celebrated the potential for states to ban abortion after nearly 50 years of being prevented from doing so. Some argued that the case did not have implications beyond that, noting Alito's words. So that's what I was saying earlier when I was talking about how conservatives view voting in a different way than we do. I feel like we got this guy in. We got Obama in for 2 terms. He was supposed to change everything. We got Biden in over Trump. He's supposed to change everything. These motherfuckers continue to vote for their guys, win or lose, for 50 years until they got what they wanted. There's just no way you can beat that if you think that 4 years, 8 years was like not enough. There's no logical way you could ever beat that with that. And I want to take this moment to make this caveat that I try and make often enough to where people know that I'm not retarded. Sorry. Know that I'm not slow. Sorry. Yeah, slow, whatever. You know what I mean. So that y'all know that I'm not y'all know that I'm not out of pocket. Y'all know that I'm not naive. That's what I'm trying to say. So that y'all know that I'm not naive, I like to make this caveat. I do not think that the Democrats are here to save black people or the world, or that voting will single-handedly solve the world's ills, or any of those things. But I do know that the people who are making the decisions that most impact us are voted in. And if you don't at least take part in that position, you are like way behind the 8 ball. This is not the singular thing that's going to change the world, but the world will not be changed without it. It's that kind of thing. It's gas in your car. Voting is the gas. Yeah, if you put gas in a car with no motor, it ain't going to go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? If you put gas in a car with no battery, it ain't going to go nowhere. But if a car got everything it could possibly have and it don't got no gas in it, you definitely not going in this mother. You not going nowhere without no gas and no car. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it may seem stupid that I'm telling you to make sure you got a gas can next to this car that don't run right now. But what I'm saying is, if we ain't got the gas, that motherfucker not gonna go. And maybe that wasn't the best. I feel like usually my analogies are great. I feel like that one was about a 6. But you get what I'm fucking saying, bruh. It's a small thing that's 110% necessary for it all to go. Maybe it's the battery. Maybe voting is the battery. And whatever. whatever. It's a small, necessary component to success. That's all I'm saying. And to ensure our decision is not misunderstood, this is a quote from Alito. And to ensure our decision is not misunderstood or mischaracterized, we emphasize that our decision concerns the constitutional right to abortion and no other right, Alito wrote. Nothing in this opinion should be understood to cast doubt on precedents that do not concern abortion. No one believes that. When you say that, it'd be like if you left your girl. See, this is going to be a better one. This is going to be a better one, y'all. You leave your girl. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. You walking out the front door, putting your shoes on. She wake up, wiping her eyes. She looks at you. And before she can even say anything, you say, I'm not going to cheat. Just so you know, I'm not going out here to cheat. Because I know what you're thinking. Anytime a motherfucker say, I know what you're thinking, in my mind, what I think is, I know what you was doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's what if that's what, okay, yeah, you think I'm stupid. That's literally what I think whenever motherfuckers say shit like that. But, you know. Kristen Wagner, legal director for the Alliance Defending Freedom, which helped defend the Mississippi abortion law at issue in the ruling, said that the High Court's decision make it clear that the taking of human life is unlike any other issue. She raised other issues, she said raising other issues shows the weakness of critics' arguments about abortion. Basically, I read that all crazy, but basically the bitch is just saying, and I did not stutter. The bitch just said, the fact that y'all think that anything else is like because abortion is murder, is what she's saying. It says abortion is murder. The fact that y'all will qualify or quantify other things to be the same as that just shows the fact that you don't have a strong argument against murdering babies. Like, she's a dumb bitch. That's what she is. And she gets all the smoke. Capital B, bitch. This is a really long ass article. I'm not reading the rest of it, y'all. Because, I mean, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, now it's just saying, contraception, gay marriage, extremely dangerous path. We're going to be going back to living like we was in the 40s and 50s and shit. And that's all true. I don't disagree with anything that was stated in that. That's it, y'all. I don't think I have anything else. I hate that this is the reality that we facing right now, but unfortunately it seems like it is. I don't know why, but this is life right now, y'all. I don't have much more to offer motherfuckers except for don't give up behind this shit. That's what I'm not giving up behind this shit. This shit wild, but I knew this shit was happening. I knew it was coming. I wasn't surprised by it. And my goal is to continue to advocate for the things that are important to me and hope that some real, not change necessarily, but something can happen. I wore my Alicia shirt, you know what I'm saying? Show my love for the women's, you know what I'm saying? Throw my W's up for the women's and shit. Man, that's it, y'all. That's been it for the Fuck This Shit podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, subscribe, share, tell your homies and shit. That's all I got. Peace.